Good morning, everyone. Know thyself. Know thyself. Okay, it's one of the fundamental principles of life. Okay, if you want to move forward, then know thyself. And you're saying, Father, I understand that, one of the fundamental principles in life in general, certainly in the spiritual life, but what about the readings today? Well, I'll explain that in just a moment. Let's do a quick review of last week. Remember, last week we were posed the question, which one do you kind of favor? Are you afraid? Or are you afraid of being afraid? So, and really the point there was the Pharisees are somebody who, on the outside, they appear one way, but they're empty on the inside. Now, if we're all honest, there are some times when that's the case for all of us. We're presenting on the outside and we might be empty on the inside. It could be all kinds of different things. Maybe we're grieving, different responsibilities. But we're talking fundamentally. He's saying, don't be like the Pharisees. They make a nice appearance, but in the inside, it's completely different. We juxtapose that to St. Irenaeus. The glory of God is the person fully alive. So in other words, what's on the inside is being authentically expressed on the outside. Somebody who is fully alive. And one of the ways in which we do that is we face our fears. Well, I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid. Well, then you're not growing. See, if you are living in a place of comfort, you are living in a place of complacency. Okay, the Lord is He's going to push us out into a place where we're uncomfortable. And there we'll find something that He's placed in our heart to give, and we give it, we lay down our life. So, if you're never afraid, then you're afraid of being afraid. Because if you are, you're not going to put yourself in a situation where you feel uncomfortable. And if you're afraid of being afraid, then you're never going to live an authentic life, because the authentic life is placed in you. God places in you what you are to give. And then you have to discover yourself what He's placed in your heart to give. And being faithful to that, now we're more on this continuum, where what has been placed in us is now expressed. Remember, I gave you that example where I buried Aunt Mary last week or 2 weeks ago, and going home and being there at the family, and a prophet is not accepted in his own home, but yet they still ask me to be the priest that buried her. And now I have to preach Jesus Christ to my family. And that was a concern for me. I would say I was in that area of being afraid. I looked out to all my relatives, and I didn't want to go out there. But I did. I stepped out into that which was uncomfortable, and I talked to Uncle Tom, I talked to Uncle Dave, I talked to Aunt Franny, I talked to Uncle John, talked to a bunch of cousins, and finally got to Cousin Matt, and he was like, oh yeah, I got a story. Remember that time? And he shared that, just bringing back all the memories. Remember, this is in the 70s. Everybody smoked, including my grandparents. We got this new station wagon, they did. We're all together, 9 of us. No luggage rack. We are packed into this place, and they're smoking like stacks, and there's just this billowing smoke. And I made it 2 hours, and we were 2 blocks away, and that's when I threw up all over Aunt Mary's fudge. And telling that story in a self-deprecating way brought everybody together. Everyone leaned in, because it brought back the imperfections of our parents and our grandparents, but it also brought back all the memories of the way that they loved us, and the way that they sacrificed for us, and the way that they were willing to bring us in to a vacation that would have been probably a lot easier without us. And those things that we could criticize kind of just fell to the wayside. And all the way in which they loved just kind of lifted up. And everybody leaned in at that moment. And that's when I said, we're all going to be right here someday in that coffin. What is God saying to you today? He's whispering. He speaks in a still small voice. And he whispers, when you hear the voice, follow it. Okay. Now, I wouldn't have been able to preach to them and to get that message to them if I didn't have that story. I didn't have that story. He gave it to me. And it was a place of uncomfortability, but it was right where I was supposed to be. And that's where he's bringing you and me, to a place where we're afraid. And that's okay. I have no problem with any of us being afraid. I do have a problem if we're afraid of being afraid, because you will never be the son or daughter of God that he's calling you to do or to be. Now, it does segue into know thyself today. It's like, all right, well, where are you getting this from the readings? Well, if we look at that first reading from Isaiah, he's preaching and he's talking to these people who have been in exile, and he's talking about how they are going to be moving out of exile. They were in a holding pattern for 70 years. We put it this way, they were in maintenance mode. Okay? This is a reiteration of a message that we heard in the spring. Okay? Maintenance mode, 70 years, and now all of a sudden they're going to move from maintenance to mission. God has something for them to do, and they are going to be moving forward. Then to the gospel, he opens the man's ears. He loosens his tongue. And then he says, don't tell anyone. And what does he do? He tells everyone. Okay. And he thwarts the mission. The mission wasn't to go and just to heal everybody. The mission was to heal some and then to preach repentance for the forgiveness of sins. So he had a mission that was completely thwarted by somebody that just didn't pay attention to what God was asking him to do. And that's the point. Are we in maintenance mode or are we in mission mode? Don't thwart the mission. But it really helps if we're able to have some sort of self-reflection and ask where we are. Okay? When I look at our schools and our parishes, I see mission mode. Okay? Our daycare over at Sacred Heart, we're at 90 kids. 90. Okay? Pre-K, we had to double it. We're over 200 kids in our grade school. We haven't seen that in decades. All right. Over at Madonna, fiscally responsible. More kids are coming in. National Curriculum Award. Okay, maintenance mode, no. Mission mode there, all three of them. I think both parishes, Sacred Heart and St. Joe's, moving forward, new ministries. Where am I? Where are you? Maybe you're like that little baby screaming, "Ah!" I'm in maintenance mode. Maintenance mode. I know I'm in maintenance mode when I have my day off. Now I'm doing things. You have to have a structure or you'll fall apart. So I do take a day off. I go and see my spiritual director every month. I go to confession every month. I offer Mass. I say my prayers. Try and eat right. Try and do some exercise. But I know when I'm in maintenance mode during my day off, I just sleep in. If I was in mission mode, I might sleep in a little bit, but I'll get up, go for a run, maybe work out, cook. Father, you can cook? Yes. Do you? No. Okay. Maybe cook something for myself, play the guitar, write a song, sing, call a good friend. Okay, that's somebody that's in mission mode because, there's a creativeness and recreative, that experience, you're alive and you're moving forward personally. And I know that I'm not because I'm tired. I think the schools are doing well, the parishes are doing well, the stuff that I'm doing at the diocese is moving forward. Personally, though, I go to sleep, I wake up, I'll sleep till 9. Everybody knows because my bedroom is right over the offices, okay? They're like, oh, Father woke up at 9. Yep, I'm screaming, maintenance mode. But that's okay. I know where I'm at. Where are you? Is he moving you in a different direction? It could be, what he's asking you to do at work or with the family, or it could be personally. What's he asking? What's the still small voice? It helps when we look at this, when we hear this Isaiah preaching, 70 years are over, mission, we're going forward. There's a chastisement of saying, listen to the mission, as Jesus opened the ears of this man and said, now move forward, join us in the mission, and he thwarted it. It's the invitation for each one of us. And I hope we're honest. Be honest with yourself. Where's my family? Where's my work? Where am I? Maintenance or mission?